Well, greetings, Formula One and LEGO enjoyers, and yeah, I got myself one of the LEGO Formula One sets. Unfortunately, I deleted the original footage because, well, my MacBook Pro that I was editing on took up a lot of storage space, so I'm going to try to rebuild it. So yeah, I didn't take apart the minifigure itself. So let's do that. Okay, so the visor is non-removable. Yeah, this is Haas F1, the kind of team that Gene Haas currently owns. Yeah, he's not doing too well in Formula One and NASCAR. In fact, Tony Stewart basically decided to give up on NASCAR altogether. He fell out of love with NASCAR lately, and he's been doing drag racing, which in my opinion is considered to be a downgrade. The only skill that is involved with drag racing is trying to keep the car straight and trying not to blow up the dragster. Because believe me, these things are powerful. Aside from that, it's basically just straight line racing. There is some skill involved, I know, but in my opinion, and this is an unpopular opinion by the way, NHRA drag racing isn't nearly as exciting as NASCAR. I know some of you will probably get mad at me in the comments for saying that, but it's true. Like, it's basically just going in a straight line. Yeah. Kind of like this. Yeah, Gene Haas. Like I said, isn't doing too well with either one of his teams. Hey, Stuart Haas Racing reverted back to Haas Factory Team. Yeah, Stuart Haas Racing is now Haas Factory Team. Yeah, I've been doing some editing lately, but I want these videos to feel raw, the Let's Build videos, because they're supposed to be Let's Builds. They're not supposed to have any editing involved aside from putting the clips in. So yeah. Gene Haas. Yeah, it's a shame that Cole Custer is in this situation. Alright, so you have to put it in a specific way. Yeah, this part was always difficult for me. And not only that, but you have to get it exactly lined up, which is probably why it took me a while to get it in there. But I learned my lesson now. Alright, let's see. Ah, shoot. Yeah, I had to take apart the whole entire set just to do a retake. Because I lost the original footage, it got deleted because of how much hard drive space it's taking. Yes, I'm an Apple user, and I do use Macs regularly. Yeah, the myth about Macs are inferior to PCs comes from the fact that some people have hyper-fast PCs and that Macs could never game, but that is a myth. Because I've actually played some games on my M1 MacBook Pro and it's able to handle them pretty well. And this myth has pretty much been out there on Macs for a while. Yeah, like, can your Mac play Skyrim? Well, it can if you have Wine compatibility. Yeah, like, Macs can play World of Warcraft. Yeah, like, I don't support... Yeah, I'm not a fan of that whole myth that Macs can't game. Because I've actually busted that myth. With War Thunder being played on a Mac with ultra-high settings. And no, it's not fake. The Mac could actually pull it off. Well, not without trying to cook itself to death. Reason why I got the Pro instead of the Air is because the Pro had a built-in fan. So yeah, like, I never even believed the myth of Macs can't game to be true. And the reason why some people come out with that myth is because, well, simply because Aspire hasn't made a Mac version of Skyrim. Just because Skyrim is not on the Mac doesn't mean the Mac can't play it. It can technically play it. It's just that Aspire hasn't, or anyone hasn't dared to port Skyrim to the Mac yet. Yeah, so that's why that myth came up. And of course, Macs, like, just because they don't have, like, 3 gigahertz or more doesn't... Well, 4 gigahertz or more doesn't mean they're slow. Yeah, like, people have unrealistic expectations of what a fast computer is. Macs are still plenty fast. The M1 is still one of the fastest out there. Please stop pretending that every computer needs an RTX graphics card to be fast. Anyways, I'm gonna go check on my, well, game. Yeah, going good so far. Anyways, people like to pretend that if it doesn't have an RTX, then that must mean it's a slow piece of crap. Well, guess what? The M1 might not have an RTX, but it's still plenty fast. Like, these kind of graphic cards are expensive. Yeah, so the whole Mac versus PC thing will never end. Just like how certain rivalries between Ford and Chevy and BMW and Mercedes will never end. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. Well, I'm not usually sided with any computer manufacturer. I like Apple for what they are, because they do make some good stuff. It's just that some people don't have common sense. and they instantly think that Macs are slow because they don't have really powerful CPUs that draw a lot of heat. Yes, believe me, I have an RTX laptop, and it does draw a lot of heat. Like, please stop pretending that everything needs to be a gaming PC in order to be good. And please stop pretending that everything needs to have be 4 gigahertz or higher in order to be fast. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with these computers, but just because you have a really powerful gaming PC doesn't automatically make you the experts of computers. Yeah, just because you have a really powerful gaming PC doesn't make you a computer expert. And another thing about Macs is I was told that they always break, which is another thing that's not true at all, because I've owned several Macs before. And they do have some issues, but they do still stay strong. I've had Macs that are 20 years old or older that still run strong and are reliable. Heck, my MacBook Pro that I bought from 2014 still works to this day. Macs are reliable, but it's just that some Macs, like the Power Mac G5, for example, with its horrendous water cooling system, can break easily. That's where that myth stems from, the fact that some Macs like the Power Mac G4 Quicksilver and most models of the Power Mac G5, well, ones that are water cooled at least, are easily breakable. So, yeah, and computer repair shops don't want to fix them, which I guess that's understandable, but don't instantly think that all Macs are unreliable, because Macs do have their problems. Some Macs have, doesn't come down to the computer itself, but how the computer is constructed. For example, the Macintosh Quadro 950 has a cooling system that is questionably built. But if you properly maintain it, it is a reliable machine. It was made to be reliable because it's a work computer. So yeah, I never believed that Macs can always break because, well, from my experience, a lot of them never broke on me. Yeah, your experience is different than mine. So take what you get, and whatever floats your boat. Right? We all have different opinions, right? It's just that you can't change how people think, and yeah, that's reality for you. Anyways, so far I'm doing pretty good with the whole build. I've been talking about Macs. Yeah, I am an avid Apple collector and pretty much know a lot about these myths that have been going around about Macs that aren't even true. And it all comes down to people's lack of common sense. It's just like the car community, thinking that everything has to be 3 seconds in order to be fast. Have a 0 to 60 time 3 seconds in order to be fast. It's literally like talking to a little kid. There's no point in wasting time with those guys. Yeah, 0 to 60 times, just like top speed numbers and clock frequencies are useless. Because it's not about how fast it goes off the line, but how much momentum the car gains while going in a straight line. Drag racing relies on the momentum of the vehicle. Yeah, it doesn't have a faster 0 to 60 time, but that doesn't mean it's pretty fast, because when it gains momentum, it can beat that car that just went off the line. Teslas have a faster 0 to 60 time, but it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean jack. Because that Dodge Challenger SRT Demon will, yeah, it will pretty much beat that Tesla, because it's much faster when it gains momentum. Just like computers. It doesn't matter how much clock frequency your computer has, if it's a 5 gigahertz or 4 gigahertz. Because what matters is that your computer might have a faster processor, but doesn't mean that you have more RAM. You see, your computer can have like a 4 gigahertz processor, but it can also be slower than most Macs because you didn't put in the RAM. Yeah, so there's other variables like RAM and hard drive space. Your hard drive can slow down your computer. Yeah, you might install like hard drive that doesn't even have as much space as you usually expect. So just because your computer has a 4 gigahertz processor doesn't mean it's faster than every Mac, because it might have less RAM than any Mac, and it might have less hard drive space. So yeah, like it depends on what kind of configuration your computer has and how much RAM it might have. In fact, my HP computer, no, it's not an HP, a Compaq. Yeah, my Compaq Presario has a 2 gigahertz processor. It doesn't mean it's faster than a MacBook, because it's a single core compared to, well, the dual core CPUs of many Macs, and get this, it doesn't have as much RAM, so it's pretty slow for a 2 gigahertz machine. Yeah, a machine that's 2 gigahertz or more. But it wasn't meant for gaming. It was meant to be a cheap laptop that kids could use at school. So yeah, it's meant to be a cheap laptop for college kids and nothing more. Yeah, it was meant to get the job done. And that's what a lot of people need. They don't need a hugely fast computer with a lot of processing power and all these tricks. They just need something to get the job done, and simplicity is always king, right? Yeah, like sometimes simplicity gets the job done. Okay, so got our pieces. Yeah, simplicity is all you need with a computer sometimes. Yeah, and potato PCs weren't meant to be hardcore gaming machines. They're meant to just get the job done. They're meant to be computers that take on tasks like word processing and, well, PowerPoint presentations. And these tasks don't usually require a lot of power, and that's all you need sometimes. Of course, when I get a gaming PC, I know what I'm getting. I have to get something that has 16 gigabytes of RAM or more and a fast processor, just so I can, well, you know, play BeamNG Drive. Because BeamNG Drive is known to be really intensive on system requirements. It's the kind of game that you need a computer, an expensive gaming PC to play. 'Cause it is a graphically intensive game and needs a lot of RAM to be played. Because it is a simulation game. It is a driving sim. And it makes sense. Kind of like the system requirements of iRacing. You need a really powerful sim rig, so it depends on what kind of computer you need it for and what kind of tasks you need to do it. But aside from that, you don't need a really powerful gaming PC to, well, play Donkey Kong or Pac-Man or, well, do Word documents or PowerPoint presentations or do work. Because these tasks don't require a lot of processing power. Just need a computer to get the job done. But it depends on which job you want done. But anyways, let's focus on the build. I've had enough talk of Macs and PCs for now. So let's go. Okay. There. This is a good build, by the way. In my opinion, it's one of the better Speed Champions builds. I actually got 2 other Formula 1 cars to get to. Yeah, like, these cars are marvels in engineering, and they're really amazing, but unfortunately they don't have that much paint. That's the only criticism I have with them, because the cars don't have that much paint. Alrighty, here we go. It's Casey Kane. Yeah, I really liked when Casey Kane returned to the NASCAR Xfinity series. And he actually did well, despite the circumstances that he had to be in. Had to, well, try to avoid Catherine Leige wrecking out because William Sawalich didn't watch his back. But keep in mind, just because Catherine Leige is a female doesn't mean she sucks. Don't use that excuse. Because Tony Brenninger, or however you want to pronounce it, she's actually doing pretty well in the truck series. In fact, I think she's doing a lot better than Hailie Deegan and Danica Patrick. Yeah, she's one of the better female drivers, and she's in ARCA. She's in the ARCA Menards series. Very good driver, by the way. Okay, yeah, Tony. She's pretty good. Yeah, her name's spelled with an I, by the way. She's like, don't follow my... Ah... Jeez, like, these pieces are... If you got slippery fingers or butter fingers, you better watch out because those pieces will slip right out of your frickin' hand. Yeah, like, Casey Kane is pretty... Yeah, like, it is said that he might do more Xfinity races, but that is if he could actually make it in the car anymore. He's been out of the Cup Series for a long time. Well, been out of a NASCAR racing car for a long time. And he really needs to experience the raw feel of a NASCAR Cup, well, Xfinity car. Hopefully he'll get a gig from Garage 66 about running in part-time in the Cup Series. But Richard Childress Racing does have a part-time Cup effort as well, and they let in Jesse Love. Can't get over his surname, Jesse Love, and can't get over the fact that Richard Childress Racing cheated in the Rockingham race. Yeah, like something was wrong with the suspension that they have. Yeah, like, what were the RCR engineers doing to try to get an advantage? I mean, come on, officials. This might be why Austin Hill wins Atlanta every time, because RCR is doing something with the cars. Okay, there we go. Wrong piece. Yeah, Rockingham is the kind of track that will ruin your day. Yeah, if you go the Rock, you better watch out. Yeah, Talladega is up next. Yeah. I don't know who's going to win it, the Dega. But I do know that there hasn't been any Talladega night races because, not because they can't afford to have lights, but because, yeah, and get this, Talladega County can't they can't install any lights because they don't have the infrastructure. Well, the county of Talladega doesn't have the infrastructure to put down any lights at Talladega. If they did, they would have a citywide blackout. Although, the mayor should think about improving the infrastructure. Because Talladega is such a huge track, and having a night race would be a big deal there. Yeah, like, but the question is, do they have the, like, sometimes they might not have the budget to improve infrastructure, because these things cost millions of dollars, by the way, and Walmart is trying everything they can to lower property taxes, just so that they don't have to pay for property taxes. And yeah, like, that's why a lot of cities and towns don't have money to fix potholes, because Walmart lobbied against the government to not pay property taxes. And they insisted that they lower the property taxes on their buildings, despite taking up more, well, just as much space as 6 mom and pop shops altogether. Yeah, that's why we don't have any potholes being fixed, because the town doesn't have the money to fix it. Yeah, I already stickered the pieces up because I did film it previously. Yeah. Excited about Talladega. Yeah, and just like Jeremy Clarkson, I really don't give a toss about bicycle racing. Yeah, I know it has its fans, but I don't very much like bicycle racing because it's pretty much just like watching cyclists go down the road bunched up together. I know everyone has a different opinion, but bicycle racing has never been my thing. Bicycle racing. Yeah, this is the kind of piece that I didn't sticker up because the camera battery ran out. Wrong piece. Yeah, and I got a couple more Formula 1 cars to build. Yeah, to start out with the one that had that was run by someone who tried to get away with tax evasion. Yeah, no joke. Gene Haas is not very good with his money. He's a cheapskate with his money. Why do you think his Formula 1 team is in shambles and can't afford the bills? Because Haas F1 is being run by Gene Haas. Yeah, it's the same case with this NASCAR team right now. Ever since Tony Stewart left and fell out of love with NASCAR and, like I said, moved on to drag racing, which in my opinion is a downgrade. But Tony Stewart won Top Fuel. He wins in anything he can. Jeez, like, is there anything he can't win in? Yeah, as much as I like Tony Stewart, I unfortunately think that him taking up drag racing is a mistake, considering that, like I said, drag racing doesn't take as much skill as NASCAR. Because you got NASCAR racing cars, yeah, like, sure, you have to try to keep your dragster straight and try not to blow up the dragster, because, believe me, there are instances where they blow up and try not to crash. But NASCAR has cars that turn. You have to at least try to turn, and you have to do it for as long as long as the race itself. Yeah, it depends on how long the race is going to be. Yeah, I think parity in NASCAR is a good thing. When you have parity, you have excitement. NASCAR doesn't want to increase the horsepower of their cars because, knowing the Jimmy Johnson era, if you have more horsepower, then you have someone dominating. And NASCAR doesn't want that. Because the Jimmy Johnson era is the reason why ratings in NASCAR dipped for a long time. Because you have someone dominating NASCAR, you have to act fast. Yeah. That's why NASCAR did everything they can to lower the horsepower and to keep the playing field even. Yeah, like, come on. Really? 1,000 horsepower in a rear-wheel drive car that has no driver assist. That's pretty much like a death machine. Like, some people don't have common sense. They think horsepower is the key to everything. But if you have 1,000 horsepower in a heavy car that has a lot of wheel spin, yeah, just because they have more grip than previous generations of NASCAR, doesn't mean that they prevent wheel spin. Wheel spin is a thing, no matter which car it is, or no matter how much grip the car is, because physics exists. Like, I'm the one who has common sense. 750 to 800 horsepower, yeah, that's fine enough. But 1,000 horsepower, that's ludicrous. Like, I at least have common sense and know that if they were to run with that much horsepower, could you imagine how much wheel spin the cars would create and how hard they would be to control? Keep in mind, Kyle Busch already found the next-gen cars to be unpredictable drive. He said they had unpredictable handling. But if you add more horsepower, it's not going to fix that. It's not going to magically fix that. It's going to make them that much harder to drive because snap oversteer exists and physics exists. It's because the center of gravity and how much G-forces the humans can take. Yeah, like, at least in Formula 1 it makes sense because of higher downforce levels, and because Formula 1 is a skill-based racing series, where racers have to have as much skill as possible in order to sustain the heavy G-forces. And at least Formula 1 cars are open wheel and lightweight. NASCAR racing cars don't have as much downforce. If they were to have that much horsepower, they would have greater than F1 levels of downforce. Yeah, like, on a physics level, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, but despite the fact that physics exists, a lot of people have been still asking for NASCAR to increase the power to these cars to 1,000 horsepower, even though physics exists. Physics. Some people don't have common sense. That definitely shows with the car world. And you want to know why they've been asking for 1,000 horsepower? Because TikTok hypes up high horsepower. That's why. And when you have TikTok hyping up high horsepower builds, then you know that people are going to ask for that much horsepower in a NASCAR Next Gen car, even though it is going to be dangerous. Yeah, there's a piece missing. Let me find it. It's been several weeks since I first started this video, and a lot has changed in this short time span. If you haven't noticed anything already, well, guess what's gone? Yep, the futon is gone. The iconic futon went over to the garbage dump to make room for more shelf space. And for now, I can't use this area as a workspace area for my LEGO sets. As well, this is in the way. Yeah, my city LEGO sets that I built. Yeah, no. Legos. I usually call them LEGO sets because that's what a LEGO fan would usually refer to them as. LEGO sets, not Legos. So yeah, that's why I had to move the Haas F1 build over to the old LEGO work area. And it's only temporary until the shelving can be built and more tables can be put in the ongoing LEGO City project I have. So yeah, that's what's changed, and the reason why this video took so long is because a lot of videos got in the way. But I'm here to finish this video as fast as possible so I can get it uploaded and get to the other Formula 1 sets that are piling up. So let's go. Alrighty. Time to get this set finished. Yeah, I got the spare parts. The spare parts is one of the reasons why the video got delayed, and another reason is because I got caught up in other videos. That's absolutely hard, more difficult to do because well, it's a much more cramped space. They have to sit on the office chair instead. Alright, here we go. This sticker is hard to get on. This could have been a printed piece. Like, come on, LEGO. That's my only gripe with the set, is the fact that some sticker pieces you need a tweezer to put on there. Like, come on, LEGO. At least have them printed on. Like, that could easily be printed on for, like, I don't know, a few cents. Still a cool set though. Yeah. I look forward to opening my other Formula 1 LEGO sets, by the way. Here we go. Yeah, it's just part of the wing assembly. Jeez, look at that. It's like a whole entire front wing. Here we go. Oh yeah. Alrighty, so. Yeah, like, pretty excited about what's going to happen on vacation. Intentionally leaving it out as a surprise on my channel. Oh yeah, it's very good, looking good, man. Yeah, we got another one of these pieces too. Oh my god. Oh my good golly. It's right on there really tight. Jeez. This. My golly. There we go. There we go. And after a long time in the works, got the front section of the Haas F1 car done. And yes, I'm going to be buying duplicates of these cars to have them represent the 2 drivers per team. As Formula 1 does have 2 separate drivers driving these cars. Here we go. Yeah, this is final sticks. Yeah, final 2 steps. We're going to use the bags. Oh man. Yeah, my first Formula 1 car build didn't go smoothly as I expected. Because of having to wait for months. Well, not most, but several weeks to get the spare pieces that I need to finish this set, and luckily their pieces that were actually easy to get. But if you lose these pieces, you're pretty much screwed. Yeah, I want to create a LEGO Formula 1 display with 2 of these cars. Well, 1 for each team because, well, Formula 1 drivers, Formula 1 teams, aka constructors, usually have 1 driver in the seats of each one of their cars. And I don't need to explain it further because that's basic Formula 1 knowledge. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that each team in Formula 1 has 2 cars for each one of their drivers. Like, for example, Red Bull has Max Verstappen and Yuki Tsunoda. Well, they had Liam Lawson in the team until they decided to boot him, which is pretty sad. Yeah, Red Bull has such high standards that it's unbelievable. They want their teammate to go right behind Verstappen to get that perfect 1-2 finish that they've been craving for a long time. But McLaren seems to be beating them at their own game when it comes to 1-2 finishes. Because of the driver, which is not supposed to be the star driver, by the way, and it's the same problem I had with Kyle Kirkwood beating Colton Herta, Oscar Piastri beating Lando Norris, because Oscar Piastri wasn't supposed to be the star driver of McLaren. That was Lando's job. Lando Norris was the worthy opponent to, well, he was and still is the worthy opponent to Max Verstappen. And then all of a sudden you have this guy who came in to replace Daniel Ricciardo, and there he goes beating the star driver at his own game. Now, where's that other piece? Oh. Yeah, you're not supposed to you're only supposed to have 2 of them on there. Silly me. Yeah, because it's a whole entire assembly. Okay, so yeah. As I was saying, you have Lando Norris being the star driver of McLaren, and all of a sudden, this guy who replaced Daniel Ricciardo, Oscar Piastri, started beating him at his own game. Could you imagine what it would be like if you were the star driver of your own team, and then all of a sudden this guy that they just hired kept beating you? Yeah, like, I'm actually shocked that Kyle Kirkwood was able to beat Colton Herta, the star driver of Andretti Global. Although I'm not dissing Kyle Kirkwood in any way. Yeah, it's not a diss towards him. I'm not trying to offend him. Kyle Kirkwood is a great driver, but Colton Herta, we're talking about the son of Brian Herta and a future Formula One driver if he actually gets his own super license. So yeah, Kyle Kirkwood is not only beating the star driver of Andretti Global, but also a future candidate for Formula One. Crazy, isn't it? But the next race at the IndyCar Series is at Mid-Ohio. Yeah, we might get Palou taking another win or another driver. Yeah. And like I said before, it's not the hybrid system, it's the fact that these guys are talented. Kyle Kirkwood is one of the best drivers in IndyCar right now, but he doesn't have the star power that Colton Herta has. Although Alex Palou, now that I think about it, is more likely to get the super license than Colton Herta is, because he's just that good. It's not the hybrid system, man. It's the fact that Alex Palou is just, yeah, he's Zanardi levels of talented. He is super talented. Super talented, man. Excuse me. It's like frog croaked in there. Oh, man. Yeah, that's just one part of the rear wing assembly. Does that look right? Yeah, that looks right. That looks just about right. Yeah, that's enough of that song, because I don't want to get in trouble with the YouTube copyright police. Good lord, that copyright system. One Up Films has made a video about it, and I don't want to go into detail. But I do agree with everything he said in the video. Yeah, I still have to upload content to YouTube because that's the only streaming service that everybody knows about and everybody watches. Compared to something like Odyssey, which is a much more open streaming service, you don't get as many people watching it. In fact, none of my relatives watch. I don't know any of my relatives that watch Odyssey and prefer it over, well, YouTube. Everyone in my family watches YouTube. There it is, yeah. Yeah, not driven by Kevin Magnussen this year, which is pretty sad. Because Kevin Magnussen, yeah, like, what was wrong with him? Yeah, like, I was fully expecting Kevin Magnussen to stay on the team until Haas decided to replace him with Ollie Behrman. Yeah, Oliver Behrman, this rando that I've never even heard about. Kevin Magnuson is pretty famous, and that's because he had his aggressive driving style, which, yeah, is in no way replicated from a NASCAR driver, which is ironic considering that Haas has a NASCAR team as well. Yeah, with Haas in Formula 1, makes you wonder why they haven't tackled IndyCar yet. Guys, the MoneyGram Haas team. Yeah, like, should definitely get into Apple as one of its sponsors. Apple, that would be great to see. Apple. Yeah, Apple. Yeah, I'm actually surprised they haven't sponsored any Formula 1 teams, given that they have a lot of money and they can basically throw in any money at sponsorships. Yeah, Apple. But they've never sponsored any cars since, well, the 1980s, the early 80s, in fact. But I actually do like that Apple Porsche 935, and yeah, someone thought it was absolutely crazy when I preferred it over the famous Zaxby Capri, but yeah, I do prefer it over the Zaxby Capri. Yeah, like, I know that sounds sacrilege, but it's just my opinion. The bold design of the Apple 935 just screams 80s. It's got that rainbow look to it. And not to mention, I like Apple products. That's why I prefer it over the Zaxby Capri, even though it was a pretty famous car that was known for its loophole around the Group 4 regulations. It is a legend. But I just prefer the Apple 935, Porsche 935, or 935, however you want to pronounce it. It's just my jam. Because I like any race car that has the Apple sponsor on it. Yeah. A lot of Windows guys would probably disagree with me. But believe me, like, modern versions of Windows aren't nearly as good as, well, what it used to be. But I have to use Windows though because, well, BeamNG Drive requires Windows. There's no Mac version of it, unless you use Linux. Yeah. Yeah, some people use Linux. They don't even bother with Windows or Mac. Yeah, they don't even bother with the Windows or Mac argument. They just use Linux. In fact, it's gotten to a point where some Linux users had started a protest against Windows for the terms that they made. And some guys even took it to the Windows headquarters. Yeah, remember that protest? Yeah, this was the time when Dell and other Windows OEMs had learned their lesson. Yeah, it didn't happen until later though. In 2007, I believe, Dell started bundling their PCs with Linux. Well, specific Linux distro. More specifically, Ubuntu. Yeah, they started bundling certain Dell laptops with Ubuntu. And HP sold computers that had no operating system installed in whatsoever. They had a blank hard drive. So that users can install a Linux distro of their choice, or Ubuntu. But there are a lot of Linux distros out there. There we go. Haas F1. There we go. And there's the cherry on top. Wait a minute, it's supposed to go upside down. Oh, come on. Yes, this piece that's holding it. Alrighty, so I figured out the problem. The problem is that the stickers are upside down. So I have to replace the stickers. I have to reposition this sticker since, yeah, LEGO wants it to be very specific on where the stickers should be placed. Yeah, if you get it wrong, well, pretty much gonna have a bad day. Okay, so this sticker goes there. Yeah, so, yeah. Those stickers were basically designed to be put at that very specific position. Since the pieces are shaped in a specific way that if you put it in any other way than that, then you're just doing it wrong. Those are basically the side pods. There we go. Rearrange the pieces. There it is. Almost done. Oh, we got these pieces to deal with. Here we go. Almost there. Almost to the finish line. Jeez. Yeah, that's another thing with this. You have to be careful, because, yeah, like, any LEGO set that has this piece, it can pry off pretty easily. See that? What? See that? Took it off pretty easily with no effort. No effort at all. Yeah, and next up is, we can assume, the piece that looks like the cockpit halo, aka the roll cage of, well, open wheel race cars. And yes, this piece is bendable. Just be careful with this one piece. You don't want to mess it up. We should have IndyCar sets. Like, air screen looks much better than the cockpit halo does. Yeah, even though the cockpit halo does provide some benefits over the aero screen. Aero screen looks cool. I can definitely see that being used with one of the LEGO spaceship pieces, the cockpit pieces for it. The aero screen it looks so cool, man. And don't forget this piece, because it's very important. It's the piece that sits on top of the Formula 1 car itself. Yeah, last time I did one of these sets, I basically forgot to put that piece there. I forgot. Yeah, and it comes with red soft compound Pirelli tires. Yeah, I watched Formula 1 and know what these compounded Formula 1 tires are. They're the red softs. We have a problem. The wheel track isn't the wheel track is a problem. Yeah, figured out the problem. These pieces needed to be put on. Yeah, I forgot to put these pieces. Yeah, and you need these pieces as they are crucial to building this car and getting it done. Yeah, because of that, you now have a wider wheel track. Yeah. Sorry I missed that, because had I known that these pieces were vital to the build, I would have put them on there right away, but I kind of missed them in the instructions, so it's my fault. Still rubbing up against the spoiler. Yeah, that's another problem. Jeez. Does the spoiler need to be lengthened as well? Let's find out. It took me a bit of time to figure out what the problem is, but after some closer inspection, because the lighting is not that good, I figured out that these pieces are placed in the wrong way. Come on, don't fall apart. Jeez, keep it together, keep it together. Oh my god. Yeah, like, it's very fragile when you try to take it apart, because the whole set plops off like that with no effort. Okay. Now, rearrange these parts. Jeez. Yeah, they were facing the wrong way. Yeah, I saw it when I tried to rearrange the parts for the wheels, because the wheels weren't sitting properly. Okay. Now it should work perfectly. Here we go. Brace yourselves. Now that that's done, let's put on the wheels. And yeah, you have to use these wider wheels. Yeah, you have to follow the instructions, because otherwise these wheels look nearly identical except for track width. Yeah, and you have to put it on there, but be careful, because that piece, at any moment, any piece will spring out. Okay. Yeah, this is the trickiest part, trying to put on the wheel covers, because you have to be very specific on where they're laid out, because the layout of the wheel covers matters. Yeah, this is my first time doing this kind of Lego set, and that I never once had to figure out the position of the wheel covers. So yeah, we got the wheels on there. No problem, no sweat. There we go. And here it is. Yeah, the battery on my main camera just died, so I'm filming this section on the iPad. So yeah, it looks great. And yes, the driver can fit inside. Just have to get the cockpit halo out of the way first. Because, well, you can't do it with the cockpit halo in the way. There you go. And now, Ollie Bierman, or the other Haas driver, is racing around. Vroom, vroom. Yeah. But not racing to win because Haas is not that good of a team. So yeah. Definitely a cool set, although I did have some trouble with it and I got some of the placement of the pieces wrong, but that's a rookie mistake with these sets. But still, I had a lot of fun, and that's what matters. Very cool set. And yeah, I'll be going on to the other LEGO Formula 1 sets I got. And yeah, I got a lot more to go to. Ferrari, Red Bull, yep, that's Max Verstappen's Red Bull. Notice how it has the 18 plus instead of the 10 plus. It's probably because of Red Bull being the sponsor. And McLaren, the current points leader, with Oscar Piastri at the wheel. So yeah, I got a lot of these Formula 1 cars to build. And I only built one of them so far. The other three I haven't gotten to yet, so yeah. Really cool cars. And if you have the time and cash, I'd highly recommend you to get one of these sets. And if you want to build an awesome collection of LEGO Formula 1 cars, this is it. Yeah, you want to build your collection of Formula 1 cars with the two for each team, and having Verstappen go up against Piastri, you know the drill. But anyways, I'm gonna sign off. Catch you guys next time. Peace out.